Hi, I'm Rocco Staino, and welcome to StoryMakers. Now that school's back in session, we have a special guest with us today, Peter H. Reynolds. Welcome.
It's great to be here, Rocco.
Yes, and one of the reasons you're here is Dot Day, or International
That's
Dot
right.
Day, is coming up around September 15-ish.
That's right.
So, boys and girls, many of you probably celebrate Dot Day in your school, and if you don't, you should go to your teacher and say, why don't we celebrate Dot Day? How does one celebrate Dot Day? It's based on this book, right?
It is based on my book that I wrote and illustrated. It's about a little girl who decides to make her mark, and that's what the day is all about. It's about making your mark, and it can start out with reading the book, making a dot, painting a dot, making a dot in however you want to make that dot, framing your dot and making sure that you sign your dot. But schools do all sorts of amazing things with this concept. They also think about how they can make their mark in their community, how can they have impact and make the world a better place.
Making your mark. Can you give us an example of how some schools have made their mark?
Well, they think of a way that they can use their talents and interests to help make their community better. So there was a school that made dots and brought them to the senior center and gave a dot to the seniors there, but they also brought paper and pens with them, and they had the seniors make dots for them and sign it. So they traded dots with each other, and I think that's kind of cool to connect the dots, not only with people around the world, but also people in your community and different ages connecting the dots.
So how many people are actually involved with Dot Day?
Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, actually millions.
Millions.
In fact, we're somewhere around, 5 million.
And growing.
And growing, yeah. So, and there are teachers and students and people in the community all over the world in 128 countries the last time I counted. So it's a lot of countries.
I'm going to celebrate Dot Day by doing a dot, but before I do my dot, the dot is the first of a trilogy. What's a trilogy?
There are 3 books, right? 3 books. So there's the dot.
Right.
And the sequel is Ish.
Ish.
And the third one in this trilogy, or the Create-trilogy as they like to say, is Sky Color. And each one of them is about being creative. The dot is about getting brave and getting started, right? And Ish is about continuing and figuring out your voice and being proud of it. And Sky Color is about always learning, that there's always something to learn, no matter what craft or field that you go into, you never stop learning. So,
well, test. Name all the characters in the 3 books.
Wow. Okay, Vashti from the dot and her teacher, who doesn't have a name, because she's really every teacher.
Right.
And there's a boy in that book that doesn't have a name.
This fellow right here.
That fellow at the end
there.
who she inspires. And his name, we find out, is Ramon.
Ramon.
Ramon, who is the star of Ish. And of course, in Ish, he has an older brother, Leon.
Right.
And he has a younger sister, Marisol. And Marisol is his brilliant, wonderful, enlightened sister who sees that Ramon's drawings are actually pretty cool, because in Sky Color, Marisol is the star of her own book. And you see that she has been inspired to make her mark. She gets a challenge that really makes her have to think very, very deeply. And I think that's what it's all about, right?
Yes.
It's not just memorizing stuff. School is about learning, and real learning means to dive really deeply into something and find out what you love and just keep diving deeper.
Yes, so why don't I dive deep and create a dot?
Rocco, that is so exciting. I have some paper with me.
Just happen to have some paper.
Happen to have some. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to show you, Rocco, that I noticed that you have 2 dots in your name.
Oh, look at that. So yes, and sort of half dots.
And there we go, 2 half dots. Just flip it around, you get another dot.
Yes.
So, but anyway, here's a pad of paper. And do you know we have all sorts of colors? So whatever colors you want.
I think I'm going to start with another color. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, yes.
That's the cool thing about International Dot Day and making your mark. There are no rules.
Okay, so I can just start with a little...
It's a little dot?
A little dot. And then, I feel very creative.
That's
I think
great.
I am going to make my dot a little bigger. How am I doing, Peter?
You're doing great. As Vashti's teacher said, make your mark and see where it takes you.
Right.
Right? So one idea may lead to another idea.
Okay, and let's do this.
And I love that you are making a dot, because sometimes people think that International Dot Day is just kids making their art and their mark, but it's also for teachers and parents, and in fact, especially older people, because I think that something happens around 4th and 5th grade. People start getting nervous about their drawing, and my hope is that with the Create-trilogy books, that it will inspire kids to never put that pencil down or their marker down or paintbrush, and to keep going, and to not say, I can't draw, because I notice there are a lot of adults that, you know, I'll say, make me a drawing, and they'll say, oh, me, I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. And I think, well, that's very sad, because you really can.
I think I'm finished with this dot. I think I'm going to show it to everyone that's watching.
Rocco, that is an awesome dot.
That means a lot coming from you, Peter.
Well, I would love to add to it.
Oh, please do.
Because I think your dot is so awesome that it deserves a frame, a swirly gold frame. So I'm going to draw a frame.
Oh.
And we're going to add some swirls here. And we're going to imagine that this is made of solid gold. All right, and there we go. Rocco's dot, all framed in swirly gold. But it's missing something.
And what's that?
You forgot one thing. To sign it.
Oh, okay,
right?
My pleasure.
So if you could sign that right in there, Rocco, that would be awesome.
I am going to write Rocco, you're not the only one with a middle initial there, Staino. Besides the trilogy of the dot and ish and sky color, you have some other books, and it's The Water Princess, and it is based on a true story, right?
Based on a true story by my friend, Georgie Badiel, who lives here in New York City. And I met her at a conference called Women in the World, and it's where women get together to say, how are we going to make our mark and make the world a better place? And her idea was to create a children's book that would inspire people to know more about the problems of water. A lot of places don't have drinkable water, and when she was growing up in Burkina Faso, her village did not have water, so she and her mother would have to walk many, many miles to get water. And so she wanted to share this story, and I said, I have a friend of mine who is quite the poet named Susan Verde, and I connected the dots with Georgie and Susan, and they got together, and Susan wrote this lovely poem which became the story, and I read it and I said, I have to illustrate this story. And proceeds from the book already have gone to build the first well near where Georgie grew up, and it will continue to help raise money and awareness about a really important problem on the planet.
Yeah, so you illustrate books that other people write, but you also write your own books, and I do. It's called Happy Dreamer, and
so this is a super sneak preview, because this doesn't come out until April of 2017. This is a book about me really growing up in my brain, because growing up I was a bit of a daydreamer, and I had a lot of ideas going on in my head, and sometimes school didn't really understand what to do with this brain of mine. And I wanted to write a book to say to kids, and grown-up kids too, that your quirky, wonderful brain is something to be taken care of and to be honored, and that as long as people love you and you love them, things will work out pretty well. You're the happy dreamer, and it's a poem about you? It's a poem about the way my brain works. And I hope that it inspires people to be happy and positive and optimistic, and also to dream and to dream big. So do you have any other books that you're going to write and illustrate? Do you have any plans? I have so many ideas and plans. In fact, I have a journal at home called Books Not Yet in Print, and I draw the covers to my to the books. It's sort of my imaginary catalog of future books, and I have about 400 of those. So
400.
Yes, so
Wow.
I'm. That's why I like to collaborate too, because you can get books done quicker. So I collaborate with my twin brother. We did a book called Going Places together in the Sydney and Simon series.
And your twin brother is?
Paul Reynolds. Yes, he's my big brother.
Does he have a middle initial?
He does. It's A. You'll have to have him on and find out
Okay,
what.
yes, okay,
right?
we will.
So
yes.
the audience can guess what the A stands for.
Okay. So International Dot Day on September 15-ish. You know, people should be celebrating that. I started the celebration here
You
today.
did, and it's 15th-ish because it could be celebrated on the 15th, or it could be that week, or it could be that month. Some people make the dot celebration all year long, which frankly I really love, because we should be celebrating creativity in the arts every single day.
Well, thanks for being with us.
Rocco, this was so much fun. I want to come back.
Remember, until next time, give a kid a book in any format.